All right guys, we're out here in Maryland. It's early season, it's actually opening day, and I was fortunate enough to take a beautiful velvet 8-point buck. And we're gonna take this opportunity to show you our new game bag system and how to use it. So the cool thing about our game bag setup here is that it comes with a ground sheet, and all of the game bags are actually stored in the ground sheet. So we're gonna get into it here. I've got my iron wheel knife, and then I'm gonna go ahead and kind of lay this out here. Kind of cleared out a little spot right here so I can, as I pull the quarters off, I can lay them on the ground sheet. It's really nice because this just folds out just like this. Comes with your stakes right in the bag. So if you're on like a little side hill or something like that, you don't want the ground sheet to slide on you. You can stake it out just like a tent. Now when you break down your buck, you've got a nice clean spot to work with. So we've got 3 bigger bags and 1 smaller bag for your trim or your cape, whichever one you want to use it for. Here are the 3 bigger bags. They are 18 by 30, and those are going to be for all your quarters and the meat. So I'm going to kind of just set these off to the side right here. We've got the smaller bag here, it's 14 by 20, and you could use that for whatever you want. So we'll kind of set it off to the side. And now we've got our ground sheet laid out, and we can kind of get started on this buck. Now, I'm going to show you how to make the cuts in the cape, just like you were going to use it to mount the deer. So we're going to make a few cuts here. All right, so the very first cut that I'm going to make, I'm going to start right here where this hair kind of comes down to a V on the back of his head. So I'm going to put the knife in, and I'm going to want to cut upward, so I'm cutting from the hide out, not down, because then you're cutting through the hair. So once you kind of get it started, it's pretty easy to just zip right down his back. And I'm just going to follow right down the center. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but just try to get it as straight as you can. Use this edge. Just watch I don't pop out and hit you. Oop, see.
Workers' comp.
I'm gonna go all the way to his tail. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut from the antler base, the burr, down to this cut that I just made. So it's kind of the same deal as you want to try to cut at an upward angle. Once we get that kind of V cut, we can just kind of peel it back. And that's all you need to do with that for right now. All right, so now the next cut I'm going to do to start getting the quarters off of this side of the deer is I'm going to go right at his knee joint, and I'm going to make a ring around that. And then I'm going to go up the back of the leg, right where the white hair meets the brown on the front. And I'm going to make a cut all the way up to his armpit, right here in the back. All right, so to get this leg off of here, you don't have to get out a saw or anything like that. If you just kind of ring around this knee joint and get these ligaments, you can twist this leg right off. All right, now that I got the cut from the back of the leg, from the knee joint up to that elbow, I'm going to go ahead and start skinning this back. Yeah, once you get this started, you can just kind of start peeling it up and kind of get it so that elbow will pop out just like that. But I'm actually going to go ahead and cover it back up so I can kind of lay that down. Now I'm going to go up here and start peeling it down. Now as you make these cuts, especially up here by the shoulder, you want to make sure that you're not putting any holes in it, because if you're getting this deer mounted, that's just more work for the taxidermist to do. So take your time and make sure that you're not cutting any holes. I got it freed up around the shoulder here, so I'm just going to keep working my way back. Now before you get too far, I usually take and I'll ring this cape right about mid-body and come up to here, and you're going to keep the front half of the hide and the back half you're not going to keep. So I'll kind of get a hole started in the bottom here, and I'll just kind of ring up, cutting from underneath. That way you can kind of peel this front half off a lot easier. So right there's that elbow right here. So I'm just going to work my way around that. You actually get to the point where you could push this elbow up through.
All right, you freed that up.
Yep, so I got this freed up. I'm actually propping the leg up on my knee here so it kind of stays up out of the dirt. I'm just about ready to take this front shoulder off. So I got it freed up all the way around that armpit, just to about the middle of this brisket here. And up near this brisket is an area that you really want to be sure you don't cut through with the knife. And as you can see, that hide's free all the way down his neck, pretty much around to the other side. All right, so we're pretending that I'm by myself and that I have no help. I could obviously ask Rob to hold the game bag, but I'm gonna prop it right here so it's ready to go, and I'm gonna go ahead and separate the shoulder. So there's nothing holding this shoulder to the body other than just muscle. So I'm gonna kind of go right in front and just start cutting, and I'm just gonna lift and just kind of start separating this from the rib cage. Get back here. As you can see, just cutting that like that. Pop it right off there. Now another thing that I like to do is I'll cut a little hole where this tendon is, and that gives me a handle. That way when I cut it off, it's not going to slip out of my hands. There you go. So we got that quarter freed up. Go ahead and drop it in the game bag. Now what I like to do is I'll put half the deer in one bag, half the deer in the other bag, so you've only got two bags. It's going to be heavy, but I'd like to get them out in one trip if I can. So we'll leave this game bag here ready to go for the tenderloin, or the backstrap. We're going to pull it out. We'll get all this neck meat, all this trim off the rib cage, so we'll go back through. I'll kind of do that like right before I'm done with this side. So we'll go ahead and peel this part of the hide back around the hind leg. Alright, so I've kind of got this hide peeled off this hind quarter here, and I'm just going to keep on going till I expose most of it. And as I go, I'm just going to kind of cut down through the hide and split it right around his butt there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take the back strap out before I take the hind quarter out. So I'm just going to find the spine right here and just make a deep cut with my knife. And I'm just going to follow that right up that backbone, right to the front. And I'll usually just cut this, this neck meat and this shoulder, kind of peel it back. But once you get down through it, comes out pretty easy. So once you get down through it, you can kind of go from the rib cage, slide your knife in, and get that started.
All right, then how are you getting that out?
All right, so now that I'm up against the rib cage, I'm just gonna kind of make like a half circle with my knife and just kind of follow that bone and just kind of peel it back as I go. Now I'm actually going to take this outside layer of stuff, fat, and just cut that out of the way. You can kind of just peel it and it'll come right out. Alright, so I pretty much took it back all the way to the hip, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off right there. And we'll get that little bit that's left when we're getting all the trim. Look at that sucker. Alright, so we'll go ahead and drop this in the bag, and we can move on to that hind quarter. Alright, so on this hind quarter, I'm going to go ahead and just take it right off the bone, and I'm going to do it from the outside, working my way in. So you can kind of see the muscle groups that run through here. So I'm going to kind of just start cutting in between those. I'm just going to separate these muscle groups as I go. I'm not worried about getting it all off in one piece. Now you could cut this all off in one piece and split it and cut the hip socket, but I just like to debone this, that way it's already done. Come around this hip. Split it down right here. There's a piece for the game bag. Alright, so I've kind of got these muscle groups kind of separated out, and now I'm just going to start taking them off, working my way from the outside, just going down. And then once I get to the bone, I can flip the leg over and get what's on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and reach in here, and I'm just going to go to the bone, and I'm going to follow it down and right to that knee joint right here. Once you kind of come around to the front of that, again, just keep following the bone right here. These will all come off in kind of individual pieces. Go, there's another. I'm not a butcher, so I don't know the individual cuts.
I think that's his knee.
Yeah, I think that's something like that. We're just going to keep going here, and like I said, just go to the bone. Just kind of roll it off as you go. This is something I would do when I get back to the house anyways, just separate all this out and then make roast out of it or steak or whatever. So go ahead and do it now, and it saves you some time. Alright, so we got the main part of the hind quarter off. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this lower piece here, the shank. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of just take it from the back here. Just go straight down. This is, I'd make burger out of this, so I don't care if it's in multiple pieces. So I'm just cutting off the bulk of it. And I'll go back through and make sure I get everything. Alright, so we got everything off the outside of the ham taken off, and now I'm just actually going to cut this hide right here so I can free up this back leg. Alright, now that that's free, we can take this and just kind of pick it up, wipe the hair off of it. Now I'm going to start separating it from the inside. You can kind of prop this up against your body here. Use that as some leverage. Get that hair off there. Again, we're just going right up against the bone. As far down as you can get. that is that whole ham right there, deboned. Now I know it may look like I'm leaving a lot of meat here, a lot of trim, but once I get these major pieces off here, I'm gonna go back through and clean all this up. I'll get all this around this hip bone here. I'm gonna get all this neck meat all the way up to the skull. I'm gonna get what I can off the rib cage. It's pretty bloodshot up in the front end where I shot him, so I'm probably not gonna worry about that too much, but it's definitely important to go through and get absolutely as much meat as you can. And it, you know, takes a couple extra minutes, but it's really not that hard to do once you get into it. So as you can see, that back leg there is pretty clean. I got pretty much all that off of there. Got a little bit around here we might try to get this right here, but other than that, it's pretty clean. All right, so I've got the back strap off, the majority of the hind quarter, so I'm gonna go ahead and peel this down, and we're gonna get this inner tenderloin out of here. Now, a lot of people think you can't get that out of here when you're doing the gutless method like this, but it's actually pretty easy. So I've got a bit of a hole started right here. His guts are right here, so you've kind of got to be a little bit careful and use your finger to kind of push those down out of the way. But we're gonna separate that. So you've got the vertebrae coming off of the spine right here, and you're kind of gonna want to get up underneath there with your fingers, and right there is that inner tenderloin. So I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna slide it right up underneath, just like that. Make sure that I'm keeping it right up against that bone. I'm gonna slide it back. I can reach my fingers right in behind it. I can pop this thing pretty much right out of here with just a little bit of knife work. You got to be careful not to get into the guts. But with just a little bit of knife work, bam, there you go. Got it out nice and clean. We're gonna have that at camp tonight. Whoosh. All right, so we got the major pieces out of here, and I'm actually going to get the heart out of here because the heart is one of my favorite parts. So you can just imagine kind of right where the shoulder sits, and that heart's going to be right in here. So I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to make a cut right at the edge of these ribs. Kind of cut down. There's his lung right there. There's going to be a lot of blood in here because I put it right through his pump house, but his heart sits right here. So I'm going to cut on this side of this next rib. Cut all the way down, and I'm going to free this rib up. So if I kind of go up like this, I can completely pop this rib free. That takes a little bit of doing here. So right there's the heart, so I'm going to just kind of plunge my knife in there, just kind of separate it from that lung. Oh, the splatter blood everywhere. There you go.
Into the bag.
Into the bag. All right, so we got the one side all cleaned up. Now all we got to do is flip him over and pretty much repeat it, and then I'll show you how to separate the skull from the cape, and then we could pack the cape up separately. So we're just going to time lapse this and save you 20 minutes. So here we go. All right, so I'm at the point now where I'm going to separate the skull from the neck here, and I've already made my cut obviously up here by the skull. So I'm just kind of following the base of the skull right here and kind of getting this opened up. Now this is kind of a pain in the butt, but if you got a buddy with you like Nate here, he's kind of putting some pressure on this deer's head, and that's going to help it separate. And a lot of times when I'm by myself, I'll use my knee and kind of push his nose down. That way it is a little bit easier to separate. So this takes a little bit of patience because it can be a pain to get it broke free. We're getting there now. As you can see, that's separating there, that vertebrae. There we go. Now we're cooking. There we go.
So what just happened when that freed up?
All right, so now his head is completely detached. All I've got is some muscle and some ligament here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut through that. And again, you want to be real careful not to cut through the cape. So I'm going to get this just kind of freed up, and then I'll go back in and kind of clean it up. But don't have much left holding him on now.
What's that you just cut?
So that was the windpipe there, just cut through that. So now you've got all this stuff here that you can kind of go in and clean it up. Get this all out of here. Save your taxidermist a little bit of work. All right, so the cool thing about these game bags is they don't only cinch from the top, but they cinch along the side as well. So if you grab one side, you can pull that down, and you grab the other side and cinch it down, and it's gonna make a nice, tight game bag right there. And you don't have any extra material left over. So that's gonna go right on your pack just like that. It's going to keep all your meat nice and contained in there. So we got that one. Go ahead and cinch that cord lock all the way down. This one all the way down. And as you can see, it's cinched up along the sides and the top. So there's one bag ready to go. All right, so we got the fast frame. We just got our buck loaded up in the game bag. So we're going to get this frame put together and get him out of here. All right, so I got the fast frame set up here with the load sling. I'm not gonna explain how to install that. We've got other videos that kind of explain how to set that up. Carl's really good at explaining how to set these up. Not very good at packing out deer, but he'll show you how to set your pack up. Oh, it's so heavy. Put that in the big one. All right, guys, well, that is how you do the gutless method, so you can pack your buck out in one trip. Now, I will say, it's better than dragging, but it still sucks a whole lot, because this pack is probably pushing 90 pounds with a full buck and cape on it. So you get to laugh as I pick this up and listen to my back break. But any serious hunter loves this part. It's just a sign of success, that's all. We're good to go.